Hello, hello. It is December 31st, so we're almost into the new year. I'm very excited for the new year. I got my very first journal from my husband for Christmas. I've never kept a journal, but I'm very excited. This past year, just in the past 6 weeks of 2023, I've really been trying to focus on some mental health, really taking care of myself mentally. I started going to therapy, which has been wonderful. I don't know what I was so scared of. Finally, I started going. So it's been fantastic, just learning different techniques for coping with stress and anxiety. I recommend it. Don't be too scared like I was. I tend to do that. I put things off because of fear, because I'm scared to do something. So I just put it off. And that's the same thing I did with driving. I didn't learn to drive until I was in my 40s. It's the same thing I did with therapy. I was too scared, and I'm really glad I took that leap and that plunge. It's been good for me. So let me show you the new journal actually that my husband got for me. It's beautiful. Okay. So here we are. Woo. I'm very excited. I didn't set up too much of it yet. And it says lilies. He decided to put an exclamation mark there. Yeah, funny. Let's see. So it has this nice hold on it. It has a little pen holder here. And it has 2 bookmarks, which is wonderful. And I started off by, just filling in a few little things. And one of the things I filled in was, let's see if I can find it here, because one of my goals for the next year is to read all my Book of the Month Club books that I've ordered but I haven't read yet. And look how many there are. A whole bunch. So I need to read all those. This last one is one that I ordered for my January pick, which is called First Lie Wins. So I do have quite a few of these. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do to make it fun is either do like a spin wheel. I know you can go online and find a spin wheel. That could be fun to pick a read, or pick from a jar, something like that, because I know most of these I'm probably going to enjoy. I mean, I ordered them for a reason. So I'm really excited about that. One of my other goals for 2024 is watching from the studio A24 to watch all their horror movies. So they have, I believe, about 26 horror movies, and there's one coming out next year called Maxine, which is the 3rd. So there's X, and there's Pearl, and then there's going to be Maxine. And I loved the first 2, so I'm looking forward to the 3rd one. And honestly, the synopsis of it sounds like it might be my favorite of the 3. We shall see. So here's a list of the A24 horror movies that I want to watch next year. I have only seen 7 of them out of the 26, but I'm going to rewatch them again, especially ones that I didn't enjoy the first time I watched it. I'm curious to see if my rating has changed. One of those is The Witch, which I watched in theaters with my husband, and I did not like it. And part of it was the sounds. There's these certain sounds that really, I don't know if they just get in my brain and rattle around. Same thing with 2001 A Space Odyssey. Those same kind of sounds, I can't even describe it, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to give that one another chance. The other one that I watched that I didn't like was Midsummer, and I know that one was extremely popular with everyone. Now, both of those do have a cult slash religious tones to it, which could be why I didn't enjoy them, as I tend to not enjoy movies about cults or religion. But I'm going to give them both another chance, because now that I know what they are, I can go into it ready to watch and see if I give them a better rating. Because Midsummer, I think I might like more knowing what I'm getting into. It was beautifully filmed and wonderfully acted, so I don't see why I wouldn't like it more than I did the first time. The other one I watched was Talk to Me, which was a new one from this year, and I liked it. I really liked it. I didn't love it, but I did really like it. It was creepy. And then Hereditary, which I really enjoyed. I watched the 3 movies I mentioned, X and Pearl, but not Maxine yet, X and Pearl, and Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. That one I really enjoyed. That was just a fun time. So I'm looking forward to watching all of these in 2024. And I know my husband hasn't seen many, so he's looking forward to watching that with me. So that will be something fun we can do together. So I'm just really looking forward to taking time. Oh, one other chart that I made that I'm looking forward to getting into. Let's see if I can find that for you. It is, where is it? Oh, here, my year in pixels. So some people do like their moods or the weather, different things like that. I'm gonna do a reading year in pixels. So I'm gonna do, for 3 different kinds of reading, I have either a line across, a line this way, or a line down. So I can do all 3 types of reading in one day and it won't look, you know, messy. So I have a physical copy if I'm reading a physical book, an audio if I'm listening to it, which I have been listening to more audio books recently, and a device, so reading on my phone or iPad. So and then I have different color codes after I put those lines in for the day, depending on what kind of reading I do. And then I have color coding, you know, combining all 3 types of reading, either under an hour, I have under 2 hours, 3 hours, 4, 5, and then more than 5. And surprisingly enough, I do read a lot of days more than 5, especially when listening to an audiobook. Let me just put my laptop on mute. There we go. Okay, and then I'm gonna put that away. But like, honestly, this is a wonderful gift, and he really knocked it out of the park on that one. He also got me some nice journal pens that don't smudge at all. I asked him for, you know, to get some different colors. And they write beautifully. They don't smudge, which is something that you really want in a journal. You don't want to be writing and it smudging all over the place. So he did good. All right, so let's go into what I read in December. This is sort of my December wrap up of what I read this month. So I'm going to take off these glasses because I need my reading glasses, and I'm going to put on these ones so I can see. Here we go. Okay, so the first book I read in December was Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. That was really good. I gave that a 5 stars, and the way it was written, is not even so much, I mean, there is mystery to it, but just, it was really good. I highly recommend it. I'm sure you've heard about it. It's been all over the place, and I know there's a new one coming out in next year in 2024 called Everyone on This Train is a Suspect, and I will 100% be picking that one up. Absolutely. The second book I read was Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. That was one weird ass read. I didn't know where it was gonna go. It was bizarre. It like takes place in an IKEA type store, and things just gradually keep getting crazier and crazier and more off the leash, and you're like in a weird acid trip dream. Yep. Did I like it? Yeah, I liked it. I gave it 3 stars. I didn't love it, but I did like it. The third book I read was an anthology of short stories by Rachel Harrison called Bad Dolls. That one was quite interesting in the fact that I had never read any Rachel Harrison. I have heard of her, of course, and I definitely have some of her stuff now on my TBR. I really enjoyed her short stories. They were weird, they were creepy, and I like creepy dolls and creepy kid stories. I don't know what that says about me, but I do. The next one I read was number 6 in a series, and I got it from the library, and I know I don't like reading by this author, Robert Galbraith, who is, J.K. Rowling, her books. But I already read the first 5, so I checked it out from the library, and I read number 6, and it was the worst of all of them that I've read. It was a 2-star for me, almost a 1-star. It was also the longest book I read all year. So I felt like that was a waste of my time, and I don't know how to DNF something. I start it, I finish it. Even if I start it and I don't finish it for years, it will sit by my bed for years until I finish it. I need to improve in that area by just DNFing books that I know I'm not enjoying so I can read something else that I know I will enjoy. Number 5 I read this year was The Christmas Guest. That was my first Christmas read of the year. I did read more Christmas than normal. The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. I gave that one 4 stars. It was a short story. It was really good. I enjoyed the twist, and I would recommend it if you're looking for a good Christmas read next year. I would recommend that one. It's a mystery. It's not the same. I wouldn't say it's in the same category as Christmas Cheer. It's not a cheery book, but it is a good read. Number 6 I read was A Very Beechwood Christmas, which is 4 Festive Magic Mini Mysteries by Danielle Garrett. And pretty much all Danielle Garrett things, for what they are, if I were only rating them based on a cozy story that I love, I would give them all 5 stars because they always make me feel good. However, in reality, in comparison to some of the other stuff that I read, pretty much all her stuff is 3, in that it's really hard to say. If I were taking all her stories and the way they make me feel like 5 stars. They always give me comfort. They always calm me down. They always make me feel good. I will read them again and again and again. I recommend them over and over again. They're just cozy witch stories and I love them. But in reality, I do give them all a 3. And why? I don't know. I do not know how to rate things. My husband always says I'm a terrible rater of things. I used to keep track of beer, like craft beers that I used to drink, and I would never give anything a bad rating, even if I hated it and couldn't even stand to drink it. One of them tasted like pumpkin dishwater. Like, it was disgusting, and I still couldn't give it a 1 star. Why? My reasoning is, well, if I give it a bad rating, someone might not drink it because of me, and what if it's exactly the beer that they want? So anyways, my husband says I'm really bad at rating things, and I agree. I definitely agree on that. Especially rating things between 1 to 5. It's very hard for me. I kind of like a 3-star rating better because then I can just say 1 would be for, it's not for me. And then I don't have to say I hate anything. And number 2 could be, I liked it a lot. And number 3 would be, wow, I absolutely loved it. It's going on my favorite books of ever. That's what I would like my rating system to be versus a 1 through 5. Let's see what's next here. The 7th book I read in December is The September House by Carissa Orlando, and I gave that one 4 stars. A lot of booktubers that I follow didn't really care for it so much. They gave it a much lower rating. It really did it for me. I loved it. I loved it was almost satirical, and I love the dialogue. It had these interesting ways of thinking it's going one way, but then it's not, it's going in another. And I love haunted house books, and I love creepy kids, as I mentioned before. And I thought it was just a really good time. I enjoyed it so much. Number 8 is another Danielle Garrett Christmas story, Grimoires and Gingerbread Sugar Shack Witch Mystery. So you're going to be hearing, and next year she'll still be on there. I'm going to be listening to a lot of her stuff. I listen to them a lot when I'm doing cozy things like sewing, or, if I'm cleaning something or wrapping presents, I'll probably be listening to a Danielle Garrett book. Number 9 that I read was The Maid, which is Molly the Maid, number 1. And what a wholesome character she is. I loved reading the way that she was written. I thought it was just so wholesome and interesting to hear the thoughts coming from someone who thinks very differently than everyone else. And it was honestly precious. I loved it. And I will definitely read the 2nd book in the series. Number 10 I read was The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. That one I gave 4 stars, and it was a very good, if you're looking for a nice romance, that one is very good. She also wrote The Dead Romantics, which I absolutely loved. And so I would highly recommend it. It has a little bit of, not really time travel per se, but more like 2 different timelines. So that one was good. And number 11 that I read is The Kingdom of Sweets by Erica Johansson. That one I gave 3 stars to. It was one of my Book of the Month Club picks, and it's basically a dark retelling of the Nutcracker. And it was an interesting retelling. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just didn't quite do it for me, but I still liked it. So 3 stars for me is still good. Okay. The next one I read was Gideon the Ninth, which is the Locked Tomb series #1 by Tamsin Muir. And I wasn't really sure what to rate it. I did enjoy it. It's basically, the characters were great. I loved all the characters. I think maybe a 3 or 4. Probably a 4 because it was very unique. Am I going to continue on in this series? It's not my priority right now, but possibly. I can't say no for sure on that. I wouldn't mind, reading more about the other characters, as I think the other series go into the other characters. So, you know what? I probably will, but again, it's not a priority for 2024. Okay, so the next 3 books that I read were graphic novels, and they were the most wholesome, sweetest, wonderful graphic novels I have ever read. I highly recommend them for anyone that has teens, kids, adults, anything that you want, like cozy, if you like tea, if you like wholesome and inclusion, and it's just wonderful. It is the Tea Dragon Society books. There are 3 of them, and #1 was the Tea Dragon Society, which I gave 5 stars, and #2 is the Tea Dragon Festival. I gave 4 stars, and then the third in the series was the Tea Dragon Tapestry, 5 stars. These are by Kay O'Neill. I didn't note the I didn't note the artist's name, and I really should have, because the art is absolutely adorable. So I'm gonna look that up, and I will put it down there somewhere so you can see and give credit where credit is due. Those books are amazing, and I highly, highly recommend them to anyone and everyone. All right, so number 16 and 17 were also graphic novels, or manga. So this was volume 1 and volume 2 of Confessions of a Shy Baker, and I checked those out from my library, and I wasn't sure where it was going, so I wasn't sure how it would be at first. But basically, it's about a guy who works in real estate, but he also he lives with his boyfriend, and every Wednesday he makes him a treat. So basically the story is every Wednesday he makes a treat. The recipe is in the book, and I really want to try some of them. They sound great. And because he liked baking so much, his boyfriend was putting on too much weight. So he wanted to lose some weight, it's funny because that's what me and my husband are doing right now, trying to make better, recipes of things that we like, but a little lower calorie. And so these graphic novels go through their struggles as a gay couple in Japan, as well as their interactions with the people in their workplace, their friends, yoga, etc., etc. And it's a good book. They're good graphic novels. Like I said, I really want to try some of the recipes out and see how they go. They're all very simple recipes, but they all sound delicious as well. I'm gonna read volume 3 of that as well, probably in January. All right, so the next book I read was another 5-star. This is The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. This one I definitely recommend if you like Stephen Graham Jones anything. You're gonna love this one. This was about some young boys who lived on a reservation, and they hunted in an area where they weren't supposed to, that was designated for the elders of the land to hunt, and they basically slaughtered a whole bunch of elk, including a mom and her baby elk. So the story is years later when they're grown up, and each of them basically a vengeful spirit of an elk is coming after each of them in different ways, and it builds up. It starts off right away, and as the story goes, it snowballs into just some serious horror revenge, and it was beautifully written. It's weird. It takes you in for sure. And I was reading it, and I was every few pages I would tell my husband, oh boy, guess what happened? And so he kind of has a synopsis of the whole book. Even though he doesn't read much, he now knows this book. But I would recommend that one if you like that kind of if you like that kind of horror, if you like Stephen Graham Jones and you have not yet picked it up. The next one I read is Christmas and Other Horrors, which is an anthology of Christmas and solstice and different holiday themes, horror version. It was edited by, I wrote it down, and I think I wrote Aline Datlow, because I can't read my writing there, which is unfortunate. I did give it 3 stars, just because anthologies are often 3 stars for me, because when you have a group of short stories, some of them are going to be 1s, some are going to be 5s, a lot in the middle. So I usually give most short story collections around a 3 if I enjoyed it at all. My favorite one was probably the first one, which is An Importance of a Tidy Home by Christopher Golden. That one makes me want to clean house. And it was, yeah, that was good. My other favorite ones were Return to Bear Creek by Tana Reeve. I think I'm saying it wrong. Tana Reeve Dew. Our Recent Unpleasantness by Stephen Graham Jones, and Loli Sona by Josh Malerman. I have not read anything else by Josh Malerman, but he's definitely on my radar. I definitely want to read some books of his. If you have read Josh Malerman and you want to give me like your favorite Josh Malerman book that you think I should start with, please let me know. And then 2 of them that I didn't rate like 5 stars, like those ones, were The Lord of Misrule by M. Rickard. Oh my gosh, I wrote really sloppy there. That was not going to be on everyone's radar as a favorite. It is disturbing. It's about children, so it's very disturbing in that way. I found it intriguing and very disturbing, but it's there because I'm still thinking about it. So, that's on honorable mentions as far as disturbing goes. The other one I really liked was the very last one in the book, was Afterwards by John Langan. And that one I didn't give 5 stars, but the way it was written was so interesting, and I found it I really liked it. It was a more of a sexual innuendo. Well, not even innuendo, it's just right there. A very sexy, sexual Christmas story. Okay, and then the last book I read, which I just finished today, my last book of 2023 is Rival, which is the number 3 in the American Royals series by Catherine McGee. I gave it 3 stars. It is following, it's basically a YA book. And the way it ended is definitely one I'm going to have to pick up book 4, which I believe has either already come out or is coming out shortly. So I will be reading book 4 of that. And that was my December book wrap up. Some of the other things I did this December was, of course, wrap some presents and make some presents. I tried to save a little money by making the gifts with things I've already had around the house. So I made some gifts for my kids. Maybe I'll show you a few videos of those. I made some baskets and some tissue box holders and some little zip bags and some peppermint scrub. Just little homemade gifts that, I thought they would enjoy. And let's see, what else? Oh, and that crinkly sound, by the way, is okay, so I carry so much stuff with me around the house. Like I go to the kitchen and I have a book, an iPad, my glasses, this, that, and the other. And so sometimes my kids make fun of me because I'm walking around with all this stuff around the house. So they, said, why don't you get a bag for that? So I did. I made a bag. And unfortunately, the interfacing that I sewed in was incorrect. I think I actually sewed in paper instead of interfacing. I don't know. So listen to this. It's super crinkly. So this is my bag. It is reversible. It is an Alice in Wonderland bag. I don't know if you can see it. And inside it, it has a pocket and some, but listen to this. It's so loud. Every time I walk around, they can hear me coming. I'm gonna have to try to fix it. I really like the bag itself, so I'm gonna try to make some little slits in it and see if I can't pull out the paper. Just so when I walk around, I'm not crinkling around everywhere. It's so noisy. anyways, I wanted to give an update of what I am reading right now. I am reading Babel by R.F. Kuang. I have been reading this for quite some time, and it's not that I don't like it. I really like it. It's a very, very good book. But I find that I'm having a hard time reading it quickly or steadily. So I tend to read like a chapter and then I put it down. So I experimented with getting the audiobook as well, and then having the audiobook on and reading along with it. And I find that I am getting so much more from the book. Different words are being pronounced to me versus me, struggling in my mind of how to say that word. What is that word? The footnotes are read really well on the audio as well. So I think for the rest of the book, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, which I have never done before, which is tandem read between audio and just having it in book form. So as you can see, I'm not that far into it. I think I'm on chapter 11. Yeah, I'm on chapter 11 now. So part 2, chapter 11. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tandem read this, and I feel like I'm going to get through it a lot quicker than I would normally and get a lot more out of it. And that's something I might continue doing with books that I have a harder time, not because I don't like them, because one of my favorite books ever is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, and he had a second book and I only got halfway through it and I never finished it. And I'm like, I really want to finish that book because I freaking love the universe. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the writing. So why am I not reading it? I find the bigger, chunkier, harder reads for me with a lot of characters and a lot of place are just harder for me to get through. And they're some of my favorite books. So, it's frustrating for me. So I think doing this tandem reading may be the secret and where it's at for me for reading some of those books. So I think I'm actually going to be able to get through this one a lot quicker, as well as I think I'll continue the Kingkiller Chronicles, which is the Patrick Rothfuss books. So I'm super excited about that. Maybe it will work for War and Peace as well, because believe it or not, I actually started that one too, but that one's, I'm having a tough time getting through, let's be honest, and I love it. Like, I actually really love it. It's kind of like reading a Jane Austen book until you get to the war parts, and then it loses me a bit. But maybe that's what I need to do, is start some tandem reading with certain books that are just a little heavier and harder for me to get through. Well, anyways, thank you so much for watching, and also Happy New Year. I hope you have a wonderful bringing in of the new year, and that things, next year is really looking up for you. And if it's not looking up for you, just, keep plugging away there. There's always a light there somewhere. There's always something positive to look forward to. I know it, even when times are dark. There's always something there. I love you all lots. Thank you so much for joining me here. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
On the timer, countdown were red. And I think they formatted it weirdly, so they also did like the last 2 digits red.
Seems like a pirate thing.
Well, this is the pirate.